Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Masterclass. Today we'll be featuring a young soprano, Brenna Markey. Our panelists this afternoon are Jody Kidwell, Lisa Hara DeCalvo, Daniel Pantano, Michael Riley, and Maestro Stephen Lord. Sit back and enjoy the singing. What would you be singing for us this afternoon?
Thank you. Yes, I would love to sing To Katie Gel.
Bravo, Brenna. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, let's start with Mr. Pantano, please.
I thought it was really, really very, very good. I think your voice has grown so much since me listening to you for the last couple of years, and grown in a good way. It sounds centered. It sounds great. I like that you know me, I'm the producer. I like the acting with it. You know, it wasn't just standing there. My question is, when did you start the new repertory? It's very good, but I'm just wondering.
Sure. Yeah, so about a year ago, I started in the direction of more lyric rep, staying away from the strict coloratura repertoire. And I think that I can say that the lyrics repertoire had really been solidified about 9 months ago.
Yeah, it sounds very natural. It sounds like a good progression. You know, it doesn't sound like it was forced or anything like that. And it sounds great. So I will let other people talk and maybe come back.
Michael, we'll go in the loop.
I think Brenna, brava. I enjoyed that very much. And I'm wondering, who are your influences? I love to listen to a wide variety of singers, particularly in something like this. Turandot is in opera, and I don't know terribly well, but of course that is a fairly standard aria. And are you an Italian speaker?
I wish. I'm working on being able to understand the language, to feel comfortable speaking, and it's a confidence thing, really.
Well, it is so vital, and I don't think I learned that early enough in my own singing, how important it was to know the meaning and the cultural meaning of every single thing that you sing, because language is culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't suspect that you didn't speak Italian. I'm not saying that. I'm just encouraging you to spend time and get to know that as a spoken language. I thought your vowels were beautifully formed, and I didn't have any issue with close and open things, and the things that we go to coaches for. So and I liked your focus.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that you were singing to me and to an audience, and it wasn't just in your apartment.
Yeah.
So you managed to transcend that. And I want to compliment you on that. And I want to encourage that, that you have that connection, continue to have that connection no matter what you do. And live with the voice that you have. And you can't push it beyond its limits. And I didn't feel you were doing that. And I'm just saying, Daniel knows your singing from the past. I do not, of course. This is the first time I'm hearing you. Although I also went to Temple University, and I was from the John Douglas era. John was a wonderful coach and conductor, and Doug McDonough was there as the stage director. This was a long time ago, in 1990, I think, was the last time I was there working on grad stuff. Anyway, brava, and I'll turn it over to someone else.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. How about if we go to Jody? Jody, would you like to?
Hi, Brenna.
Hi.
Hi. I thought it was beautiful. I was very impressed because the last time I heard you, you were singing Handel.
Yeah.
And so it's quite a stretch. Performance-wise, I thought it was great. At the very beginning, though,
Mm-hmm.
and part of it is, of course, what we're involved in. You're in your apartment, you have to start the music.
Yeah.
But I wanted an immediate connection to where you were in the aria as it started. And it felt to me it took a couple seconds for you to completely connect. Because I saw that this is what I do with my students. When I see their eyes flipping around, I say, you are not focusing on not only the character, but on your vocal. So I thought you sounded marvelous, and I just love the sound. But I just want you to be present a second before you sing, completely. That's all I have to say. And I thought the Italian was very good. It was very good.
Thank you, Jody.
You're
Let's
so
go
welcome.
to Lisa, and then we'll save our maestro for last.
Oh, God.
Hello, Brenna. It's nice to meet you.
Hi.
Okay, now I've got you. Perfect. All right. Thank you. You have a really beautiful voice, and it's great to hear you. I've never heard you before, and we've never met, so it's nice to meet you. First, I want to say thank you for doing this, because I think it's really hard to get up in front of people and sing. So you did a great job. And also, I was doing a lot of virtual coaching, and singing with a recorded accompanist sucks. And you did a really great job of that. So, because I've been recording accompaniments for people, and it's a really hard thing to do. So nice work. So as you probably know, I'm a coach and not a voice teacher. So I have like these coachy things, that I wrote down, but mostly there was a couple of things that Michael and Jody said that I wanted to also touch on, but I wrote these following things. And I think at the beginning, what Jody said about the beginning, I felt like maybe, it was a little bit hard to get focused at the beginning because of you having to turn the accompaniment on, and there's like one chord, and you suddenly have to be in character and start singing. And so I felt like the beginning needed a little more legato, and that's probably because of that, because I felt like you improved that as you went. And I think maybe you just got a little bit more settled as you went. Yeah, the first thing I wrote down was that at the first Tanta Fiamma Vinta, I felt like it was a little chunky and needed a little bit more legato, although you got a really nice double M. So thank you for that. So, and I feel like all of the things that I'm saying that happened sort of at the beginning kind of improved as you went. The sort of the first high note, I feel like it could have bloomed a little bit more. And to me, that was just a little, I don't know if you were nervous. Were you a little nervous?
I think really it's just with the track,
Yeah.
like stepping here.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's just hard to get right into it. So just like a little bit more bloom. But the second time you went up for a high note, I thought you had did some really incredible finesse on that. It was really lovely.
Thank you.
There was one time, and I think you say ancora a few times in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
There one time, and I don't know where it was. So I wrote that the ancora, the O vowel was just a little bit out of line, and I'm sorry, I don't know which one it was. So maybe just be careful that you're making sure you're lining that up. And then there's one place, it doesn't, thankfully, this doesn't do this much, but there's one place where you have to dip down into your lower passaggio.
Yes.
And I think that's just something you want to continue to work on, a smooth transition down into your lower passaggio. Although it was pretty well done, but it's just, you know, you made a switch from coloratura to this rep, so that's good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been studying with Jennifer Rowley for the
Yeah,
past year and
that's
a half.
great. She's a great singer.
Fantastic.
She's a good teacher. Obviously, she's a good teacher as well. Then I wrote on your third high note. All right, you did really well on that one. So good for you. One small thing I noticed in the Italian, but mostly your Italian is really just fine. But the word stanca is stanca, not stanca. Okay, do you hear the difference when I mean
through the N?
Yeah, it's like an NG, not stanca,
Especially in
stanca.
that
Yeah.
part of my voice, I need to bring that.
Yeah, and actually that might I can't remember where it is, but anyway, there you go. That was beautiful. Stanca, io chiudo, stanca, gli occhi, whatever it is. And then just the very end, just hook in on that, the last high notes, just really hook into your mechanism a little bit more, because I felt like it could have, again, had a little more bloom going into that final phrase. It's such a great phrase. So I think that's really, just make sure you really just hook into your breathing mechanism a little bit more. Whatever you're doing with Ms. Rowley, you're doing a great job. Just keep going with whatever she's teaching you about your breathing. And then the other thing, this is something that Michael said when he was talking about your language. Overall, I think your language is great. And this, what I'm going to say, also has to do with you having to step away from turning the thing on and immediately start singing. But the fact that I'm sure you've been told this before, the fact that she uses tu instead of voi is super important. So when you're in a situation where you don't have to turn something on and step away and start singing, of course, it'll be easier to get into the fact that she's using the familiar form with turando, which is really kind of important in your presentation. But overall, great job. It's lovely to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Maestro Lord, you're on.
Hi, Brenna. I'm a very old friend of Jen's. We've worked together a lot in the past. I taught her Tosca, in fact, some years ago. So please send her my very best. Do you use this aria for auditions?
Yes, but well, the thing is, with the lack of auditioning, because I would be, yes.
Right. Well, the name of the aria is Tu che di gelo sei cinta. It's not Tu che di gel. You get a lot of demerits when you don't say the name of the aria correctly. Okay, so you may want to think about that. I agree with Lisa. You got better as it went along. You're hampered because you don't know how long the high notes are going to be when you have a track. But actually, I think you handled it pretty well. There are many performances on Met Sirius that aren't that together. So very good for you.
Thank you.
I heard one yesterday, in fact. Let's see. Arias that happen at the end of operas. Yeah, I don't necessarily know that they are the best way to present. It's short, and people want to hear it because it's like Musetta, because it's short. However, those arias come at the end of an evening when you're warm, when you've been through everything, and these are emotional highlights. To start it off cold is pretty darn hard. Not sure that it's a great, Signore Ascolta might be just a little bit better, you want to be careful that when you're singing a verismo aria, which this is, you still retain what you did in your coloratura repertoire. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't make this music any more dramatic than Puccini did. Do you know what I'm saying? You have to let it, you have to let this music go. You just have to sing it. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to add anything to it. That's why I think the top notes, the softer top notes, were in some ways the best part of it, because you could actually have all of your sound spinning and not just whatever. I have to say, it doesn't phrase quite enough. I think you can phrase quite enough. I don't know that as you start a sentence like tu che di gel sei cinta, you don't know that you're going to cinta. I hear a lot of tu che di gel sei cinta. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel a direction towards the shape of the sentence, which is in a sense the shape of the phrase. So you want to think about that, okay? Tu che di gel sei cinta, da tanta fiamma vinta, l'amirai anche tu. You know what I'm saying? You want to know, you want to have your goal posts and go towards those. And don't, as I say to people sometimes, don't stop to pee every mile on your trip.
Okay.
You know, unless you're a male over 60. And then, well, you know, it's a whole other story. Gives Flomax a whole other lousy drug. One other thing I'd like to say, Brenna, and to our panel, I went through this for years and years and years. I hate the word judge. Nobody is here to judge anything. You know, this isn't Anna Bolena where we're judging you. No one wants to judge anyone, okay? Because that's presumptuous. I don't know what word we can use, but we're here to just inspire your creative process, okay? Anything we tell you is whatever it is, opinions are opinions. Sure. But if we can inspire your creative process to bring forth your individuality, whatever all else, then you'll have a story to tell us. You know, you always have to remember that we don't know this piece. Okay, we don't know what Liu is doing here. We don't know if she's going to kill herself. As Lisa said about the two, it sounds as if you already know what you're going to say. And of course, we had the lead in, the lack of introduction. But what often evades singers a lot is that it does not sound as if you are making this up at the moment. You don't know what to say. It's up, 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 two. You know what I'm saying? If you had an introduction, you probably could have done that. But you need to be more, I don't know how to say this, because you have a lovely voice. And Jen's done a good job with you. Please, you know, she did a good job with herself too, I have to tell you. She's really done very well. I think Ray has helped her a lot. So that's what you need to, you need to have that, you need to tell us your story. It's one of the things that lacks people is just not, they don't tell us their story. And I think you have one to tell. Okay. Okay, so maybe you want to think of the first aria. Maybe you want to think of Signore Ascolta before you start. Yeah, because this is a verismo aria. It's all middle voice.
So typically, with my repertoire, what I like to start with, I don't normally start with this. However, today I literally drove from Bryn Mawr straight back to my apartment because I had rehearsal for choir at church. So I typically like to start with pieces that at least I feel I can be grounded.
Exactly. That's why people do it. You know.
And then Rusalka, Song to the Moon, is another starter for me if I feel like I need to be grounded pretty quickly. So I'm still trying things out, but yes, I agree with you that, you know, the starting piece should be like, yeah,
But don't
right
throw
over that.
don't throw away things like Vadora Pupille. You know, there are some beautiful, you know, I mean Tebaldi sang Handel arias even. Do you know what I mean? Don't throw it away just because you're doing something new. I wouldn't throw that repertoire away, because you know you don't want to peg yourself as a verista. Do you know what I'm saying?
Do you mean throwing coloratura rep that I used to sing
No,
away?
no,
I
no. That
actually,
you know, Cleopatra isn't the coloratura part, but none of them are coloratura parts, really. You know, they're all middle
sure,
voice parts.
sure.
You know, no, but keep these things in your repertoire because
Variety.
your voice, your variety, not only variety, um, because you have something to say, so you don't exclude yourself and only do that.
Sure,
Just for what it's worth.
sure.
Yes, Michael, go ahead, please. We get all on mic now because I think we can all actually join the conversation because nobody's singing. So
Yeah, I just Stephen inspired me to. I remember an old saying: "Roll out of bed repertoire." You know,
Yes.
something that you can always count on. You know, you can roll out of bed and sing it, and so that's the kind of thing that I think he's talking about,
Yes.
and that's certainly what I like to rely on. So that was just my 2 cents.
Brenna, I thank you tremendously, and I want you to know that we were speaking earlier that I've received over 100 audition tapes when you sent yours or revision videos that you were immediately I heard the talent and not knowing anything about you, and also William, thank him for suggesting you to us. I think that you got a lot of great advice here. You have a panelist of very, very gifted people. And my only critique, if there is one, would be that anything that you sing, you have to make sure that I know that it's you in there, and it's just not a bunch of phrases. I want to see you. And I tell everybody that from that when whatever you can represent yourself with the best at all times. With that being said, I'd like to ask you back again because unfortunately, with time and Zoom, that we're going to have to cut this one off in a little bit. But I would love to hear you again, and I would love to. And this panel, I'm sure, would love to hear you again.
Yes.
So
Very much.
please, if you would consider it, and I know when COVID is over, I would love to have you here in person because I think that it would be a little bit less stressful. I know. Listen, I know what it is from running to one place to another all the time. When you're in a less stressful environment, I think that you're going to produce a much better sound and a much better emotional text or color. So,
John, can we ask her what else she usually?
Sure, please. Yes, yes.
So I do have the Rusalka Song to the Moon. I have Signore Ascolta. I have Depuis le Jour. I have Violetta's Tour de Force. A Forse Lui and Sempre Libera. I have Iolanta's aria. I have a lot. So stop me if I'm going on.
Stephen, would you like to hear something, a part of something? We have a few minutes. Would you like to hear a start of something else now that we're all about?
Yeah, the beginning of Traviata would be lovely.
Excellent. Okay. Go ahead, Stephen.
Terrific, terrific. Brenna, can I just ask one little thing
Sure.
of you? You need to ask yourself questions. For example, estrano in the middle voice,
Yes.
even eighth notes. In the second estrano, we have a 16th note when it starts. Why do you think that is?
She's caught off guard, and I think that she's entertaining this idea that she's never really had before.
Or she's all alone, and this is a new sensation for her. And so perhaps she says, estrano. Wow, estrano.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? As opposed to so serious, because she's not serious yet, you know? And scopiti quegli accenti. Again, towards things. I won't take up all your time, but there's one thing. What is it? Sdegnare poesia per what are the words? Sdegnare poesia per la follia del viver mio. Del viver mio is the first forte. And you make it all on Lari de Follie. Okay? What she's saying is del fucking terrible, awful, viver mio. Okay? So you need to shape this recitative a little bit. You can't when you're dealing with this recording, which, doesn't want to wait for you to do what you're going to do. But it's very interesting. I'd like to hear more of this one day.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. Okay, Lisa, were you closing? Go ahead, I'll unmute and.
Okay. Okay, great. So I agree with absolutely everything that Meister Lord just said. I feel like there's a lot more issues with the Italian in this, and it's probably exactly that. It's these accompanied tracks, they never are the tempo or this pacing or the pacing, anything that you really need.
Yeah.
Where did you get the accompaniment thing?
I can't even remember.
Some website or something?
Cafe,
Opera
so-
senza voce,
Something
maybe.
like that. Something. There's
What an awful name.
Yeah, no, really.
Yeah, I know, right. Yeah, right.
All right, so that partially has to do with it. What I would suggest that because you have said that you don't speak the language, which is fine. We don't all speak every language that we have to work in, right? But I really feel like you need to work on speaking through this, especially the recitative, a little bit more to understand the flow of the language. And I think that you know where all the accented syllables are, but it's not apparent the way you're singing the recitative. I got a little bit of, even at the beginning, and I know that's the same issue with the recording, but estrano, and I got a little estrano, a little too much chunky and not enough of that. It's the word is strano and not strano. And that was kind of a little bit all the way through the recit. And then I'm going to talk about legato again in the A forse lui, because I feel like you really need to commit to every one of those vowels and really work that legato in there and get that just a little bit more committed. I don't know any other way to say. I think you're fabulous.
Yeah.
Can I just add one thing, a very interesting thing, and I'm sure that Lisa will agree. I'm telling a tale out of school, but he wouldn't mind because he's my best friend. Emil Shikov was a great tenor, a really great tenor,
Yes.
who really didn't know all that he was singing. He really didn't know what all the words meant. But the sound of the word, not his voice necessarily, the sound of his voice, but the sound of the word was convincing because he loved the sound of the word. And that would be something for you to think about. Loving the sound, as Lisa was saying, go through it. Yes, go through, but love the sound of the words as you speak them. Find what you love about a diphthong, but well, anyway, just be very, very careful that you commit to that we will know that if you love the sound of that word, its meaning will come across. The sound must seem an echo of the sense. You know what I'm saying? That's too poetic. I give up. Okay.
But you still need to know what it means, obviously.
Yes.
Exactly. Not with Nico. Get the dictionary.
Yeah. Jody, please.
Well, just to pick up on what Stephen was saying about the Italian, one of the things that I don't know who told me to do this, but it's very helpful, is to look up every word and every possible meaning of that word. Because I can't tell you how many times I would be singing and suddenly I realized that the meaning of the word was not what I thought it had been, but one of the alternative meanings, and it brought a whole new meaning to the phrase. So I'd write it above all of the words, every possible word, and then just let it sort of toss around in my brain. And then it would just come out by osmosis. And that's what's exciting for us as listeners, to know that you're just discovering as you're singing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of online dictionaries that will give you everything that Jody just talked about.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's easier now than it was when I did it. I had to actually pick a book
Go to the library.
Maybe easy isn't the point.
Right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe easy isn't the point, Brenna.
Well, that's why, Nico is great and all, but yeah, he always has one meaning underneath every word. And I think Jody's point is great. Find the other nuances, the other meanings. That's great. That's a great suggestion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Michael.
Next time we hear you, could you have a live accompanist?
Yes.
I think that would have taken care of a lot of the issues that we just dealt with in terms of timing, especially something that is so recitative-like, accompagnato, recitativo accompagnato. But the timing is just so challenging. And I could hear you having to adjust phrases to catch up with, and it wasn't your fault. I mean, it was just, you have to deal with that recording. So please, next time, work, with a live human being there, and then we could tell a lot more about your phrasing and about your timing and such things.
Yeah.
So please, that's my suggestion.
Michael. Okay, Daniel.
I agree totally with Michael. I was scared shitless with the tape. I kept thinking,
oh, but wait, Danny, we've all heard those performances.
But I mean, it's like I wanted to hear you with a pianist. Right. You did great with the tape. I think it sounds great in your voice, but I wanted to hear more of you and the character. Yeah. And that's just with you using the tape. I will say on my end, I think you're ready for Emmerich Kalaman, and we'll talk at some point. I have a couple arias for you. You could do better than a Tremco on the Kalaman.
And it would be in tune.
Yeah, well, there you go. Okay.
That's great tuning. Great tuning.
Yes. Yeah. And again, Brenna, I wholeheartedly agree with everything that everybody said, because I trust these people. I've worked with these people. I respect these people. And everything that they've told you this afternoon is true. And again, from my emails that, and that we're going back and forth, and I know we're in the middle of COVID, and we're in the middle of situations that we're just out of our control. The next thing that I know, if it's tough to work with somebody or perform with somebody, and you're a little skitsy about it, which I can understand, is to find a coach and that you work with, that to record the accompaniment according to your voice, because again, because it was such, you never know what these senza voce things are going to do, because you're always on edge. So I really don't get the sense of musicality that you really have, and what your feelings really are, because you're dependent on that shit track. So and my brother, God rest his soul, would go and do these, we used to call them Dego Fests, these Italian festivals. And because they didn't have live music at times, he would have these tracks. But they were tracks that he recorded with musicians that he knew and who worked, say whoever that was, tell them hello, I guess your husband, tell him hello. So that would be, if you're going to do this and you're going to use these as auditions, I think that would be a recommended thing, to find your accompanist to record them as you sing them. Because listen, I can't sing them the way somebody else would, or somebody else does it. So I think that would be, if you're going to use these for auditions, which it really is the future. Sorry to say, but I think that you should get an accompanist to record your way of doing it.
I have done that with a couple of people, and it actually worked out really well for them. So it's doable.
Yes.
Because estrano, it is. So, yeah, really. So, and believe me, I'm kind of old school, but it would make your performance benefit 1,000%. And you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful instrument. I really, I can't say that enough. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. So, and I wouldn't have people listening to you. I really think that this is hopefully a stepping stone for you. And once we get this on air, I hope it gets or on air, it's going to even give you a bigger audience, because you deserve it. And take into consideration everything that everybody said. And I wish you all the best. And hopefully we can invite you back when all this shit is over with and we can hear you in person.
And love to Jen. Love to Jen.
Yes, please, from all of us. Yes. Bravo, Brenna.
Bravo.
Thank
job.
you. Thanks
Bravissimo.
again. Yes. Bye-bye.